Welcome back. Again, Trevor Lane here. You can find me on Twitter at Trevor_Lane, joined by Keith Smith. You can find him at Keith Smith NBA. Got a lot to break down today. You've got an issue going on in New York, a changing of the point guard. Keith, Kemba Walker.
Well done.
Out of the.
I like that.
You like that? You like that?
I did. I like that. Yeah, I wasn't expecting it.
That, so. I wasn't either. I was kind of shooting from the hip and just fired that off. But it worked. Yeah. It worked.
Yeah. Kemba Walker no longer going to start for the New York Knicks, no longer going to be part of the rotation for the New York Knicks. Tom Thibodeau told reporters that today. His statement was basically we're going to move into a different direction. Tibbs said, I'm trying to find the actual quote with it, but it was essentially Kemba Walker is out of the rotation as of right now. Alec Burks will start in his place. I'm going to tighten the rotation moving forward. It'd be tough to place three small guards together. So he's talking about Walker, Derrick Rose, and Emmanuel Quickley there. And then Tibbs closed it with, I have great respect for Kemba Walker and all he's accomplished, which that is kind of the kicker on the end there of this is done. And that's scary. With that. So we're gonna ultimately see where that goes. But yeah, I think it's probably closer to the end here for Kemba. Now, at least in New York. And what's crazy, Trevor, is he started the All-Star game 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
Started in the All-Star game and was a deserving starter. Was playing great for the Celtics. Had a knee issue before. Then in that All-Star game, Nick Nurse played him a lot. And there's been a lot of stuff that's gone back at Nick Nurse saying, like, you were trying to win this game for what reason? Why did he play so much and all those kind of things. Then he got re-injured and he's never been the same guy. So that's it's tough because, I mean, Kemba is just, he's one of those good guys. Man, he's such a good guy. He's a nice guy. He's accountable. He really, helps. But yeah, the Knicks starting group has not been good this year. They've really struggled. Kemba has not been good. So it's something was going to change, and this is what the change is.
Well, is this the end of his time in New York then? Because you look at his stats and you see, okay, he's averaging 12 points per game, 3 assists, 43% from the field, 41% from three. Like, if Kemba's done in New York, there's other teams that would say, sure, we'll give that a shot. Sure. Is that where this is headed? And salary wise, what can the Knicks do here?
Yeah, so he's $8.7 million this year. That's a nice chunk of change of salary matching in a deal. And then he is $9.2 million next year, fully guaranteed both years. So it's probably that 9.2. It's, because there's going to be teams, we talk about this all the time. There's going to be teams that need some point guard help, maybe need some bench scoring help, need something down the line. But it's where do you go? With that, it's that $9.2 million that's tough next year because that's just a little less than the full mid-level exception money. So I don't know. It's really hard because part of me says, yeah, he's probably done. But then I also look at it and say, well, Derrick Rose isn't exactly a picture of health either. He tends to miss some time and then get banged up and things like that. So maybe you want to kind of keep Kemba in reserve there. It's probably more of if a trade comes along that they like, that can fill a need, you can go make it. Because the other thing they could do is they have Kevin Knox, who's about $5.8 million of essentially expiring money. You're at almost $15 million there with those two guys. That starts to get really kind of interesting towards putting together a trade package to get a helpful rotation player.
And you got to wonder how Kemba's feeling at this point too, because yes, you can put his salary in there, but let's not forget he gave back an awful lot of money to the Oklahoma City Thunder in order to become a free agent so he could sign with the Knicks. And now here we are a quarter of the way into the season and it looks like it's over. We're going Carmelo Anthony of the Houston Rockets route. Like that's potentially the path that we are heading down right now. That's got to be a tough pill to swallow if you're Kemba Walker.
Yeah, and brutal too, because Kemba is he's a New York guy. This was built up so much as his homecoming. He had talked about how he always wanted to play for the Knicks, and it just never really happened. And it's and then just because it's Celtics centric related to it. They've got to feel fortunate that they were able to get Al Horford in that trade, because Horford looks pretty good, is playing pretty well for the Celtics, and just getting off that additional years owed to Kemba, pretty big. Sorry, the puppy's got a toy. So, but yeah, so we're. It's just all around this is rough, because it's just, you love Kemba. Hey, let's stay in New York, because it wasn't on the rundown. But we're going to go to the other team, Brooklyn. Steve Nash just told reporters Joe Harris is going to have a scope on his injured ankle. And they'll have a better timeline after. There's a loose bone particle in the ankle that the surgery will address. So that's tough. For the Nets, rather, we talk about it all the time. Their margin for error is not what it once was. But yeah, it's that's tough, because Joe Harris is a very important player to them.
Absolutely. He's incredibly important for their floor spacing, and he's been great when he's been on. He's absolutely fantastic. This season obviously hasn't quite been the same, but maybe this will help him out long term. Hopefully it will, but this is going to be a rough blow in the meantime for the Nets. So tough times in New York. I'm looking down our show notes here, and this wasn't intentional when we put this together, but we're basically talking about all really, really good to all-star level players from like 4 years ago. That's the theme for today, because next up,
good point.
We've got Demarcus Cousins. Yes. He's back. Boogie is back, and he's with the Bucks, and it makes some sense. No Brook Lopez. They need another floor spacing big, maybe to kind of fill that role. Boogie Cousins can do that a bit. Of course, he's not Brook Lopez defensively or anything like that, but he's a big who can shoot threes. So it makes some sense that the Bucks would take a flyer on DeMarcus Cousins.
Yeah, we spoke in our first segment about Michael Porter Jr. and back injuries. Brook Lopez has been out played in the first game. He's played in one game. It may not have been opening night, but he's played in one game this year. Has been out with a back injury since, and there's no real understanding of when he's going to be back. So that's tough for the Bucks. They definitely needed to add somebody else. We saw Cousins. It still has something left. He's not a 30-minute a night game player anymore, anything like that, but he can still score, can still rebound, can still pass. Defensively, we'll see. But the way they play that drop style, they can leave him back around the rim. Giannis covers for a lot of stuff for a lot of people. So yeah, I think this is a pretty good fit. And I think this will be kind of fun to see where this goes for the Bucks with DeMarcus Cousins. It's going to be a 1-year non-guaranteed contract, so Milwaukee will be able to get out of it. Contracts don't fully guarantee until January 10th, so they'll basically get a month and a half-ish look at Cousins, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
A little more minor move. They also signed Javonte Smart to a 2-way deal and waived Justin Robinson. So the Bucks, just doing. And
Javonte Smart was filling it up in the G League. I know people may not know, he played summer league with the Miami Heat, and then went to also did preseason with the Heat, and in the G League, in 5 G League games, 22 points per game on 48% from the field and 39% from three. So that's that seems to be one where the Bucks we like this guy and we'd like to get him in. And not risk somebody else snapping them up later. So good news. Hey, follow up from Woj on Joe Harris. His agent Mark Bartelstein tells ESPN Harris is expected to miss 4 to 8 weeks.
Oh.
Ouch. So let's do some math here, right? So we're talking Christmas on the front end, and then we're talking sometime in late January on the back end. So you're basically gonna push this up to really kind of interesting spot here. So very curious to see which end this really goes. Is it closer to the 4, closer to the 8, something in the middle? But I would say sometime into the holidays before we're gonna see Joe Harris again.
Tough blow for the Nets right now. One player, another former star who is trying to get back out on the court, John Wall, did meet with the Houston Rockets, but apparently there is a disagreement over exactly what his role would be if he comes back. Now, Wall did respond to this on Twitter. I saw him, he responded to an account, I don't remember who it was, but basically suggesting that this was not true or something to that effect. But still, there's something going on here. According to Woj, the holdup is a difference in opinion in what Wall's role would be. Wall wants to start. The Rockets want him to come off the bench. I mean, it's tough if you're in John Wall's situation, because if you start coming off the bench now, teams are going to see you as a bench player that can impact you moving forward. I understand his reluctance to do that. He's always been a starter talent-wise. He probably should be a starter on this Rockets team, but they're not trying to win games right now. So that changes the equation. I don't know where this is headed. I mean, it should be headed to a divorce here, right? Wall should be leaving the Rockets, but that salary, you can't move it. And if he's not going to give back a bunch in a buyout, they're kind of stuck with each other.
Yeah, we've covered that kind of ad nauseum.
Yeah.
It's 91 million. That's not going anywhere. Where would that? So, yeah, I think the challenge with this situation is what we're hearing is the kind of credible reports are Wall wants to start, wants to play a good amount, or wants at least the opportunity to compete for a starting job and those kind of things. That's not crazy, right? I mean, this is a guy who, to get to the level he got to as a basketball player, you're obviously a competitive person. So he just wants to compete. He wants to be out there. He's been a starter probably, my guess is, basically his entire life as a basketball player. He's probably always been one of the best players on his teams and has started. So that part doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me that the Rockets are like, yeah, we're not so cool with that.
Right.
Like, we're happy to play you 15, 20 minutes a night off the bench, but, starting, not really where we want to go. I think the suggestion, which is the tweet that you referenced that Wall replied to and said that's a lie, that suggestion was he wants to start, have a green light, and basically be allowed to do whatever he wants.
Right.
That's probably going way too far with things. My guess is he wants the opportunity to compete and start. The Rockets we'll play you basically in place of DJ Augustin and play you, 15, 20 minutes a night as a backup and go there, and he doesn't want to do that. So it kind of is what it is at this point.
That does make some sense if that's the way this is going, but we'll see what happens with John Wall in the long run here, if he is able to get back out on the floor and if they can iron things out with the Houston Rockets, or might the NBA step in if the Rockets just refuse to put him back out there. We'll see where this goes. Another former star, one that you're very familiar with, Keith, Isaiah Thomas, led the U.S. to an Open World Cup qualifying win. Now, I haven't been following this tournament that much or anything like that, but just Isaiah Thomas popping up as being a name that was helping lead the team to a win. I mean, that's pretty amazing considering what he's been through at this point.
Yeah, it's really cool. So what they did was, because obviously NBA players are not available to go through the World Cup qualifying. These are qualifiers for the 2023 FIBA World Cup. So what they did was they pulled a whole bunch of guys out of the G League, and then they reached out to a couple other veteran players, Isaiah Thomas being one of them. And Isaiah Thomas is joined the team before training camp started and is playing now with the team in these qualifiers. He had a big game, scored 21 points, big fourth quarter, and hit a huge three-pointer, which basically sealed the game. And it was Celtics fans will get this when he was on the Celtics PA announcer, as they do, right? They all have these pet calls for their players. Whenever he would hit a big three-pointer, it was IT for three. And like when I saw it, that instantly, like I heard it in my head. Eddie Palladino, the Celtics PA guy, I could hear it. So super cool for him. Also notable after the game, Isaiah Thomas said his goal remains to get back into the NBA. That's what he wants to do, but he's always happy to wear the Team USA jersey whenever he can, because he did this before for the team in qualifiers as well. But what his bigger point was, I forget how he put it exactly, so I'm going to paraphrase it slightly, but if an NBA opportunity doesn't come, I may need to look overseas. And that has been something he's been reluctant to do to this point. So maybe a good run here. We'll see. He got a 10-day last year with the Pelicans and looked okay during that period. My belief is this guy could still help a team as a scoring guard off the bench. It's just, it's got to be the right team, right opportunity. And as we're seeing, though, maybe small scoring guards, as we talked about with Kemba Walker earlier, maybe that's kind of going a different direction.
Yeah, it seems to be the way things are going, particularly if, like, let's say Kemba Walker hits the market. Let's say John Wall somehow gets a buyout or something. Like that just knocks Isaiah Thomas's prospects down, because he's going to be below those guys in terms of getting NBA opportunities. So we'll see what winds up happening with him. But last thing we got to get into is almost I don't know if I want to call this funny, but the Jokic brothers are like becoming a thing to the point where Udonis Haslem had this statement about the Jokic brothers coming to Miami. He said, "I keep hearing about the Jokic brothers buying tickets to come to the game. They better stay in line and don't come down there and start trouble. Miami is my city. It's my city." I feel like Udonis Haslem is like Batman or something, trying to protect Gotham here from the Jokic brothers are coming in. Don't start nothing, won't be nothing. Ain't nobody messing with your brother. We come to play basketball. Udonis Haslem making it pretty clear that he doesn't want any issues with the Jokic brothers. We saw what happened with the Morris twins, the Morai. What happened with the Jokic brothers. So this is like becoming a thing where, I don't know, it becomes this contested situation.
Yeah. And now what I will say for Udonis Haslem's side here is he was very clear, kind of the elder statesman of the NBA, if you will, at this point. He was asked after the incident, what happened, and he basically said it shouldn't have gone that way on anybody's side, and has a ton of respect for Nikola Jokic, and basically what happened, let's leave it there. Now there's this story of, the Nuggets are going to play Miami, Jokic's brothers are buying tickets, they're coming, and I think Haslem's basically saying, hey, let's just keep it on the court. Let's not do any foolishness. I kind of envision Udonis Haslem being at this point, in life. He's 41 years old, right? He's closer to my age than any other NBA player is. I just imagine him being like waking up and being like, I'm too old for this crap. Like I don't want to deal with this.
Now, Lethal Weapon.
Right, yeah, kind of. Yeah. Here's the other thing I will say is when Udonis Haslem says Miami is his city, he is 100% spot on with this. So Udonis Haslem was in high school in Miami, grew up and went to high school in Miami, graduated high school in 1998. So that was 4 years up to 1998. Then he spent 4 years just a little further north in Gainesville, Florida, playing for the University of Florida. Then 1 year in France. After he joined went pro, and then every year since then, since 2003, he has been on the Miami Heat. So
unbelievable.
There is no NBA player that is more connected to their city than Udonis Haslem is currently playing in the NBA. And I don't mean that because he's a star player or anything like that. Nobody else has that length of time history in one city that is currently playing in the league. And there's a reason why he keeps getting contracts, or they keep bringing him back and those kind of things. So just kind of to close out, when he says Miami's my city, he's not messing around. Miami is his city, 100%.
Yeah, he's absolutely right. And I'm trying to look on the schedule here to see when Miami takes on the Nuggets. It's coming up pretty soon. I know that. Let me pull up their schedule so we can see it. Oh, there it is.
I got it.
It's tonight.
It's today. Right?
It's tonight. Yeah. They're taking it. That's going to be on. That's going to be on NBA TV tonight. It's going to be at 7:30 Eastern. So hopefully cooler heads prevail and nothing winds up happening.
Well, we don't even know if Jokic is going to play. Morris is not going to play. So my guess is, much like Isaiah Stewart and LeBron, the rematch, nothing is going to happen.
Yes.
And we're just going to play basketball because that's how this stuff goes.
And that's really what
there's very few guys that are out for blood for, months and weeks later.
Exactly.
In situations.
Exactly. All right, everybody. Let us know your thoughts on all of this. Kemba Walker potentially out in New York, everything going on there, all the other stories that we dove into. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe right here to the NBA Front Office YouTube channel. Turn on those notifications as well. Till next time, stay safe and see you.